Well, welcome to today's episode. We have a very exciting guest today, Adam Hocheck. Adam is the CEO and founder of Echo. It's an AI company pioneering emotional intelligence through voice and multimodal analysis. With over 2 decades of experience in AI, machine learning, and communication technologies, Adam has built systems that decode human emotions, personality traits, and behaviors to make AI more empathetic and human-centric. He holds an MS in computer engineering from Syracuse University, co-authored Definitive Voice XML, and invented the first personal reading system for the visually impaired in 1988. His work spans emergency response systems, mental health applications, and recruitment technologies, with recognition from the U.S. EPA for innovative emergency notification systems. So, Adam, welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
Indeed. And for those just joining the podcast, we at Strativa AI help businesses scale their revenue over 12 months using AI. So if you want to learn how to take your business to the next level, make sure to stick around for future episodes. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth into the DMs. So Adam, can you tell us a bit more about yourself, what your role is at your company, and how you got started in your field?
Sure. I'll start with how I got started. I've always been involved with speech, early days on, as you covered the first reading system for the blind, invented the first portable reading system. But I also worked on some of the early, going back even earlier than the reading system, was first consumer products using speech recognition and synthesis. I've also worked on Arizona State's tourism and travel information, which was voice driven. A lot of voice applications for medical reasons were like pharmaceutical for a company. I developed those. So I had a lot of background in speech, basically, and also in natural language AI understanding. And then all that came about that sort of thinking, well, what about if we could do emotions in the voice and understand them? This is a few years back. And there's an opportunity there if we could do that well. And that started evolving and started looking at personality traits. Can we do that? Combine that with emotions. And that was the beginning of Echo. And we said, well, where can we use it and apply it? So there's many applications, and I could probably touch on some a little later. But the main one we started with and we're pursuing is recruiting. And we said, well, in recruiting, all the people's technical skills, hard skills, but what about their personality? What about the cultural fit, the environment they're going to work in, their work style? And that's something that I believe more and more companies are putting emphasis on, the importance of that, understanding the soft skills of a person. So that's what we do, both the hard skills, but also the soft skills now with a conversational AI bot. So that's.
Mm-hmm. And so when you say we, how big is your company, say, in your team size?
Sure. We're a total of 12 people. 3 of us are full-time employees, and the rest are between fractional or near full-time, but temporary. So we have a few interns, so they'll be parts of the year. So that's the size of our team. It's mostly technical. We have someone we're very strong technically, but we're also expanding in our sales and marketing efforts. So we've been outsourcing some of that. And we have now 1.5 people who are focused on the sales side of social media, sales side of the efforts.
I see. Okay, great. And so with that, what would you say your goals are for growing the business in the next 12 months?
Well, we need to grow our sales, our revenue stream. We're also in the process of raising money. So that will, once we get our pre-seed funding is what we're looking for. Once we get that, we'll be able to also expand our efforts. Our product line, we're doing recruiting, but the other area that we have done some work and we want to expand in is in our we do emotional side of things, but we do stress anxiety and depression detection. So those are areas that we're segueing into the healthcare area. So it started with well-being and in the workplace, but we're also seeing that as that could also be another sector for us in the healthcare industry.
Oh,
And there's
yeah, I
interest.
could
Yeah.
definitely see you guys branching out into those other market sectors.
Yes.
And so what is that what does that change as far as your product? Do you have to adapt it quite a bit for each individual sector that you want to go into?
I would say not as much as one thinks. Most of the integration, because our core technology is really the analysis of speech. And I should say, I always forget, is it's not the words you say, but how you say it. So we're actually language independent. We work in any language. We look at the tones, the breathing, the pauses, the pitch changes, the micro changes in the voice that are the indicators of emotions, personality, and even the well-being of depression, mental health, etc. So most of that doesn't change. It does, of course, there is some research for different diseases. What are the voice biomarkers that we need to look at? But the biggest change is really in packaging the product, the user interface,
Mm,
what users we're dealing with. That's really the biggest change
mm,
for us.
okay. And so right now you've gone to market on the recruiting side of things then, is that right?
That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
we
And
have
like how big
recruiters.
is that user base?
It's still somewhat small because we did a pivot on our product at the beginning of the year, and then we've used some of the feedback late in the following months to improve it. So we now feel we have a better product vision that's been vetted by recruiters with their feedback that we're now targeting. So it's only been uh, a couple months really for us in our product sales. We did some sales last year, and we uh, but what our focus last year was really on the. I'll just touch on this too. We really were doing psychological traits. So we said, let's just focus on what we do, our core technology, which is the psychology and personality of candidates. And we mapped it to all sorts of popular DISC and Hogan and other well-known inventories or psychological tests that are being conducted. We then realized that that's good, but not everyone wants to do that. It's not as easy. It's a separate process for them. And like everything, you have to be a low barrier to entry. So we said,
Mhm.
okay, early this year, we said, let's make a conversational bot. So while the bot is talking to a person and assessing their hard skills, other things. What about then in the background, we also assess them for their soft skills and how they would fit in. And that seemed like a better approach.
Mm.
So we took that change in direction.
And what's the base? Do you have a base LLM or two that you're using?
Yes, we work actually with several LLMs, and then we've also been working on our own SLM, small language models. So we use several of the popular Claude, OpenAI. We've used Grok at some point. So we use a combination of the LLMs that are available, and how we use them is so what our process is a recruiter would put in their job description. We then take the job description. We then go out to the candidates that are to be interviewed, whether they come from, as they call in the industry, an ATS system, an application tracking system that exists, or whether they do a social media post for jobs. The candidate then will respond to it, and then they are asked to, if we don't have their resume, they're asked to upload their resume. And based on their resume, the job description, we start asking the AI bot will start asking questions. We're dynamic in that when the candidate responds, we look at, again, the job requirement, their resume background. We look at their emotions and some of their personality traits. If they're nervous, which is usually the case, but beyond that, if they don't sound confident about their answer, we might ask them that same question, slightly different, just to validate that they're not using AI to answer the question or help assist them. So that's how we're dynamic in the way we adapt to the questions. So, but the questions, we use LLMs to help us generate the questions.
Yeah. Okay. I would imagine
Sorry, I
so.
gave you a long roundabout way to your
No,
question, but
it really helps give context to the whole thing quite a bit, Adam. And so then you were mentioning about how the recruiters are using it. Is that your main customer base, or do you have other ideal clients as well?
So it's interesting because we are getting and we had others in the past. One of our earlier ones was very unrelated. That was last year. We did the Mongolian government, and it was a study for them so it wasn't for recruiting, but interesting enough, they wanted to see, are the top executives, the heads of each of the departments, labor, human services, etc.,
Huh?
are they well qualified? And they wanted to show that they had the best candidates in their heading each of those divisions of the
Okay, so
government.
people already in place.
That's correct, yes.
Uh-huh.
And so we did that, and they liked the study. And then they said, okay, we want to do a second round of study, and let's now do those underneath them, the directors within the departments. So
Okay.
we did that as well. And they also liked that. And they said, great, this was what we needed.
You validated our existence?
We got reelected and it's all good.
We only fired one person?
And now we'll come back to you when we want to do our next round of studies. So that's how that one went.
Okay.
They've also, not only there, but we also have sold to therapists and coaches who were interested in the service. And that's another small sector, but interesting for us. And then it's, as you pointed out, those are in addition to the recruiters. But I can say there are many, many applications
I
that
would think so.
we're seeing. And I'll just keep it a little in the business realms. One of them is, once the candidates get hired and we move into companies, what is the team dynamic? What is the team? What kind of team is it? Is it like a creative team? Is it a stressful team? Is working under high pressure, as many organizations may be? Is it creativity, innovation? Is it looking for leadership? All these other factors start coming in. And if you can place people that fit well with a team, you're going to have better success for the team and for the candidate. So that's another area of possible growth for us, is coming into the companies, and there's going to be a lot more checking, because you could do it quarterly. What's interesting is if you do a quarterly, year, semi-annual, you can start seeing, how is the company's dynamics and culture changing from quarter to quarter? Are the employees just as satisfied, more satisfied, less satisfied with their job? Are they unsure about situation? So it's a good metric for the company, in addition to their questionnaires, to see what's going on. How are we doing? Yeah. So that's just another area.
And that gets me to think maybe these two things are related, maybe they're not. And so going back to where you said that you have seen some coaches and therapists start to use it, are they using it simultaneously to, say, giving a coaching or therapeutic session? So it's sitting there in a co-coach, co-therapist sort of aspect, as though there's, the agent is sitting there in the room with them. And then also when you're talking about going into the companies and they're looking at things quarterly, are they at that time also using it in that sort of like on the fly, like in reality situation where it's like their wingman, if they will, or is it something where they're looking at the recordings of
Yeah, great
the
question. Yeah,
session?
very great. So we're supporting both. We first started with recordings, and now we offer real time. So we have plugins right now for Zoom. We're doing one for Google Meet, and we're going to expand that. So those could be real time indicators in meetings that, let's say, a company has and how that's going, how the other party is overall responding. Are they engaged? Are they
Hmm.
interested? So on. That's so for both. And then for the and I should say it's our philosophy and strongly believe that where AI is, and I don't want to put our company in a position we want to just be assistive. We
Yeah.
do not feel and I think none of the AI companies should feel confident to completely let it go on without oversight from human beings.
Hmm.
It's a strong belief. We're too early in it. Even when people have it generate emails, it's a good idea to check the email or the
Yeah.
resume that it generated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing. So we firmly believe that. And then with the therapists or coaches, where the ones who have used it is really not in the session as much, though they could use it for the recordings and then process it. But really it's when they're not in session during the week, if they're coming in usually weekly therapy sessions, then how is their progress? What's going on during the week? So it's a way in which they could interact, and the therapist then could get input on how they've been doing during the week. And they could
Oh,
say,
because their patient or their customer is interacting with the bot during the week
correct. Yeah, that's right.
outside of
Yes.
the
Outside of
practitioner.
their therapy or coaching
Got
session.
it. I see.
So that's how it's been so far. There's no reason they can't use it in the session, but right now that just hasn't come up for us yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And it's it's clear that you've got this strong background where you've been utilizing this sort of different niched AIs for a while now and taking it through to the present. What sort of cultural or organizational barriers have you encountered when you've been introducing AI solutions, and how do you address them, or how have you
Yeah.
addressed them?
Yeah, it's really interesting because we had early pilots MVP out in the field last year, early and later. And there was a lot more resistance then. People were like, wow, voice? I'm not sure about voice. And now voice seems to be prevalent. It's
Mm,
growing everywhere. We're seeing
hmm.
more and more applications. So we're not asked those questions. And then people seem to be a lot more accepting when we say, yeah, we could listen to a voice, a sample of the voice, and we could determine these emotions and these personality traits and even some of the mental health and well-being. And that they're also more accepting of because there's more products that have not so much in the personality and psychological, but in emotions, there are products out there that people have seen sentiment analysis, call centers using is it a positive, negative sentiment and a few things. So they're more accepting of it. So that's been easier.
And that's been just over a few to several months?
Yes,
Wow.
really amazing that
Rapid
it's
adoption.
changed how quickly. Now, the hard part is that the AI solutions in recruiting when we first started to now has changed tremendously, where there was virtually all the players in the AI space, the companies were founded 2 years, many of them, I'll say almost all, were 2 years ago. And by the time they got out there was a year or some, in many cases, less than a year. So, but today the market is really very competitive, a lot of noise of, yeah, we got AI solutions. We're using AI for doing this in recruiting, doing that in recruiting
Huh.
and different aspects. So there's a lot of noise because it's not clear that the differentiations between the companies are all in the details.
Mhm.
For example, many of them, if they use, first of all, fewer of them use conversational AI for interviewing. Fewer of them will, none of them do personality traits of the voice. They use it just for speech to text, and then they analyze the voice. I will say almost all of them use that
Okay, so
approach.
not
Yeah.
conversational. And then I would assume also just very much reading text.
Yes, it's more canned. They come in with the questions, but they're not dynamic. They don't change. So they'll ask sometimes even the candidate will have answered the question in the previous question, and they'll still ask the same question because
Yeah.
it's fixed.
Okay, yeah. So both that,
Yeah.
but then also the AI that the other, I guess, companies might be using, right? Or are the ones that are actually looking at the resumes and the CVs and pulling out
Yes,
the
yes.
relevance there and using the AI in that regard. Yeah.
In that regard, you're right. Like
Yeah, yeah.
pre-screening, looking
Yeah.
at the AI for that instead of looking at just keyword matches. A few of them
Yeah.
do more, but exactly, but not necessarily. So there's so many aspects of, but people say AI recruiting solutions and they don't necessarily look deeper because there's so much noise out there with AI. It's really hard to keep track of. Even as a technologist, it's
Hmm.
really hard,
There's
and let
so
alone,
much.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to stay focused sometimes.
Precisely, yes. Always new releases, new Chat GPTs doing this, that, and people say, well, why can't I do that with Chat GPT? Well, there are reasons. ChatGPT is a large language model. We'll use general cases. We'll not be looking at the responses in real time. We'll not be looking at all these other aspects of the environment, the person's personality, their emotion, their history. It's a lot of information. So the company's culture, history, which we look into as well. So it's very different. It's not it helps things like ChatGPT, but it's not at the same level. But people confuse things, or they mix them up. Yeah.
And then, so when a company has your bot that they're using, say a recruiting firm or what have you, is it that they have like a lot of different seats available for any of their users, or is it that there might be like a handful of team members that are using it as one of their tools in the recruiting process as a means of like the human touch, the human oversight?
So I just want to, before I answer, I just want to be sure I got it. So is it a few
Yeah.
people who use it within
Within an organization.
organization, and what
Yeah. So, so is it a few, or is it like a whole team of them, a whole group of them?
It's really up to them how they want to use it. Some of them will start out with using it with a few members and having them oversee it, and then go from there, expanding it to all the recruiters within a recruiting company. We do have it such that the way we've created is the enterprise version of our product could have multiple users, each one with different accounts, so they
Hmm.
can keep their silo independent, which is what many like. But we also allow them to share if they choose to do so. Like one recruiter may say, this is not good for me, but so and so may is looking for this kind of candidates. I'll share this with them. So they have that ability to share across. So we try to make it flexible enough to meet the different needs and work style of different recruiting companies.
Hmm. Sure. That's great. That level of customization and support.
Yes, those are the things that take a little more time.
Right. Yeah. But then it draws the value up quite a bit. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
And what have you done to put AI into your own business so far, like into Echo, so that you're automating your own workflows?
That's great. I love that. And yeah, I think it's really important that, it's a kind of testimonial that companies use their own products or try to find areas, and AI in general.
Yeah,
We
yeah, it
use
could
it.
be AI
Yeah.
in general, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we use it, of course, for recruiting. We've used it we're not we're not we don't have we're not going out really aggressively and hiring at this point, but we will, and we had in the past. And then we used it there to find out about the personality of the people and
Sure.
what their style is. So that was helpful. We have an info bot for our product. So people interested can go to our website and they can interact with the info bot and say, hey, I'd like to know what are Echo's products for recruiting? Can their Echo Recruiter, can it do this, this, and this? And it will speak back to them. So we use it for informational reasons, purposes. That's useful. And also we've done email campaigns and other campaigns where we've advertised, look, if you have any questions, here's a little blurb on what Echo does. If you will have any further questions, you can talk to our info bot on this and they could chat with it. Gives them an idea also of how
Mm-hmm.
our conversation works.
Yeah.
So we use it there.
How they get to use it.
And we're trying to use it in more and more ways. We realize, for example, a lot of our meetings are rich with information, like ideas that we've talked about, things that we're going to add to our product that we haven't put there. So we're now collecting that information internally and using that. So, hey, what was that features, or what are some of the new features we're talking to enhance our candidate qualifier product? And it would then tell you, oh yeah, the new ones are this, this, and this. So that's another way.
Hmm.
So these are
Wonderful.
called SLMs as opposed to large language model.
Mm-hmm.
People call them small language models,
They're
or
specific.
they're specific. I like to say specific language models.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so what about when you've come across some sort of challenges or setbacks in implementing this or implementing certain processes within your company? What were some key takeaways that you learned?
Yeah. Some of the things we're very strong on the technical side. Sales side, we had still learning and we're getting better. But on the technical, we seem to be fairly resourceful. We got a nice team, good balance, front end, back end, machine learning, speech. So it's a pretty good balance. But sometimes we do have also people that we can reach out to, advisors and non-advisors that we can reach out to who have also deep experience in specific areas, cognitive thinking, behavioral sciences. We have psychologists that we can ask questions to, and behavioral scientists that we reach out to, machine learning that we also reach out to ask specific questions. Well, we're having some trouble with our models. We tried this and this. What would you recommend? So we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that's, I'll say those are quick turnaround. We can usually get answers readily. On our sales side, what we've done is we do a lot of analytics and learning from what we do. We get some advice from people who are experienced outside our organization and people we speak to, but we do a lot of analytics. What's working, what's not working, what is this indicating why it's not working from the analytics? We're seeing like people are opening things up, our emails, and we're getting a high open rate, but less follow through. And then we'll say, maybe it could be this, or maybe it could be that. Let's run tests and see, let's do this and let's do that and see if that changes our, the statistics on this. And
Yeah.
then we'll
If you're getting
we'll
better
go
numbers.
from there. Yeah. That's really how we do that.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like you've got some key performance metrics
Yes, that's
that
it.
you're
Yes, thank you.
checking things along the way, be it sales or more along the product dev side of things. And
That's right. Yes.
yeah.
Even with the product, are they asking more questions? Are they confused on something? Then we're tracking that too, so we know where we need to improve things, make it more intuitive.
Wow, you guys have had quite the journey so far here, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you.
What would you foresee as being your next challenge that you're going to overcome in the next year?
I would say, well, like many startups, fundraising and getting funded is a big deal
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that
you
means,
mentioned that. And so like what will the funding unlock for you?
well, it will mean we can really invest more so strongly in marketing and salespeople. Right now, we have people who have some experience in that, but not really, let's say, experts and people who are really of that profession, completely focused and have been doing it for years. So that will be one thing that we could do. We're also, we do want to start having product managers come in because we see even in the recruiting, we've got two products right now. We're looking at a third, and the same thing for our what we've been doing some things with depression detection early stage and trying to do types. So these are that's going to be that's a whole different marketing effort, sales effort, data collection effort, and even product development effort. So the funding will help us to become really more so a little give structure to our company. Right now
Mhm.
we have, like most startups, wearing many hats and doing many things. Same
Mm.
thing with our content development and all that. We could then focus better on getting external help where
Mhm.
needed. So that would be,
So it seems as though the departments may become a little bit more defined or delineated and
yes,
deepened.
yes, because we
Yeah.
have this core technology and the
Yeah.
tendency is we struggle with it because we say, well, we could do that. We got the machine learning. We'll just tweak it for this. We'll look at these parameters and these. We have that pretty well in place, almost streamlined, that we can move it very quickly. But
Yeah.
it's all the other marketing material, brochures, video, sales initiatives that really need to start and the people to support it need to be separated better. And that's where, like you said, we'll have those better defined departments and people
Sure.
within.
Also looking ahead, Adam, what do you think would be some big trends, like the emerging AI trends over the next couple years?
Are you, just to understand, you're talking for Echo or general? I just so I
Generally.
general. Oh, okay.
Generally for people that are using or thinking of using AI in similar business applications, not exact like, within recruiting, but like say using voice recognition, not just recognition, but the deep tech, like do you see that as a trend getting really deep or just any other AI trends that you foresee becoming relevant for businesses to consider over the next couple years? As you've mentioned, the rapid awareness over the past several months, right? And just trying to see if we could look into your crystal ball of where do you think that the AI trends may go?
Well, I'll give my thoughts on it. I see it a little bit of like the old bell curve of early adopters. The more conservative mass comes in the middle where the bell curve goes up. And then those laggers, those who come in
Slow to
late into the game, slow to adapt. So you have that kind, and I do see that. But this is really, how should I say it? It's really exploding in the reach because the media, the job impact, and so on, it's really catching everyone's attention.
hmm
But I don't see that I shouldn't say it's not moving quickly. It is moving quicker than usual, but still so many changes that I don't think any company, any individual can keep up with all the to adapt it to use cases. Because let's say a company says, great, I'm going to use an info chatbot for my organization so I don't have to have someone answer all these questions or call center, to direct calls and answer questions off hour. Well, they do that. The technology's there, but they got to try it out. They got to see how it's working. They
Yeah.
got to revisit it, tweak it. So that takes time. And I don't think the people who are putting out the technology are moving quick because they're competitive. They want to grab that market share. But those who are adopting it and adapting it to their needs is taking time. And that's not, they can't just jump in and start suddenly
Right.
deploying it all across all their channels. They're going to first validate it. So that's my sort of general take on it. Then the other part of it is you have this whole thing about the technology is fighting itself and creating new problems. And I could speak to that in the recruiting industry where we've had
Okay.
some experience where people are using AI to generate their resumes. People are using AI
Oh,
to
I see
help
what you're
them
saying.
take technical questions and find the answers to the assessment tests. People are using AI to even conversationally. We've heard about people using it to conduct their interviews for them. People are using deepfake AI, which is something we worked on, where they use AI generated voices to pretend like an avatar, put up a picture of themselves or not, if it's an audio interview, and then just have the AI help them generate the automated answers and speak the answer. And we've heard this from even large companies. These are really existing problems.
Those are big problems that hopefully remain the exception.
True, and we hope so, but we've been working on technology to do deepfake detection. So whether it's a real person or it's an AI generated voice, we can detect the difference. Now the question is how much,
Yeah,
and
sure. Are you saying that's like embedded in your product?
it is.
Great. Good.
But what we found was it's embedded in our product. I'll say it's an option that they can ask for because but it is something that they can
It's like a
request
filter
that
they could
feature.
toggle.
They can toggle the filter, right?
I
And
see.
we charge more for that because
Got it.
it's got some overhead. But what we did find, and I'm being transparent here, is that we were extremely good. We were hitting the 90% mark between, of course, human substitution was easy, but deep fake and humans, we were 90% able to detect. But in the last few months, they've improved the deep fake technology. So it's made it harder for us. And our percentages dropped. We were dropping down to 70%. We had to revisit our models, redo them, and now we're improving. I don't want to say yet because it's not conclusive completely, but these new enhanced deepfake technologies in the last few months, they've added emotions to them.
Mhm.
They've added accents to them. They're really getting much better. So we're revisiting, but we're going to be somewhere between 80 and hopefully 90% is where we're aiming. So we're
Yeah.
working on that. But that's the thing
Keeping
about
you on your
this.
toes.
Yeah, it keeps us on our toes. It keeps everyone on their toes. And what's interesting is when you ask about AI's impact, one thing impacts another, which impacts other things. So it's an ongoing, revolving carousel of technology to what's going on in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Very hard, yeah.
And it's evolving on so many different like dimensions, right? That we just literally cannot fathom in some situations. And then we have to go and either put a band-aid on that aspect of it or stop it, right? Or be like, "Oh, wow, and this is a real good learning situation," and then adapt to that whatever is, discovered and found out and can again be of great value because of that. But it is something that is so rapidly evolving that I think that the biggest thing is that it allows for so much creativity and the opportunity for growth. And I'm of the side that, so long as, yeah, we always have the HI, the human intelligence interacting and like overseeing and growing it so that when there are the inevitable malicious players that they're held in check or, I don't know how you want to say it, but more good comes out of it than bad.
Yes, very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, you summarized it very well. And really, just to circle back to the question, and just to add to it, is that it's really when it becomes a real problem, then people have to like For example, I'll just take the recruiting, but it happens in all sorts of areas. Not only cost saving and having AI generate emails, generate PowerPoint presentations, whatever, you also have like the recruiting industry. Some companies will have 200, 300 candidates apply for a job. Well, it's not realistic and it's not cost effective to vet out all those applications. So there's where AI comes in.
Yeah.
How can I do this and screen these people quickly, cost effectively in a short time so I can get on and find the right candidates
Yeah.
and get my commission for that, fill that role, job requisition. So those are the things where it becomes really a pain point. Then that's where they're going to, and also, of course, to be competitive with others in their field.
Yeah. 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 It's that field is, I was in recruiting years ago, and like you attested to recently, it's getting so much more competitive. It's hard to imagine because I know how competitive it was back in the 90s when I was doing it, and I could only imagine now. Yeah.
Yes, if you don't move quick, someone else has filled that role for you.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. A lot of, yeah. And on the recruiting side, just like putting together the people, into the company, like making that be an important fit. Like it already is an important fit, but just finding that right fit so that there isn't the churn for the companies or for the individual, right? I mean, it's one of their big things in lives is job changes. It's a really big deal.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. So
yeah.
it is a problem. And the thing is, like with this automation, one of the advantages, and we're not the only ones in this part of it, is it's 24/7. And if you can get candidates to have an automated interview at their convenience and at least get them screened and even the assessments done reliably, you're ahead of the curve
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. You've got quite a product. And
Thank you.
it sounds like you've got some interesting, hopefully not too distracting other potential applications and markets.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, keep a focus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Good, thank
it's
you.
got to be a lot of fun where you could just, think about the possibilities that you're, adapting to and creating and that sort of stuff.
Definitely,
So,
yes. And I'm hoping from people who listen, we also welcome people's ideas and where they think in their industry where they see it's useful, because that's really where you get the real ideas. It's the real problems that people are experiencing.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's helpful.
Well, Adam, this has been fantastic.
Thank
Could
you,
you
Mark.
please share about how people can find you and your company online?
Sure. Our online URL is echo.ai, and there they could find our general website. And if you go hr.echo.ai, you'll go right to the recruiting products that we have. My email is adam@echo. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I just can't remember they could find me on LinkedIn as I think I'm the only Adam Hocheck, so that would be
Okay.
easy for them to
Yeah. Well, we'll be
find.
sure to
Yeah.
include your LinkedIn then too, as well on the
Okay.
show
Thank you.
notes. Yeah. We'll find you
Thanks,
and post
Mark.
that up for you. Indeed.
Thank
Yeah.
you
Well,
so
Adam,
much.
thank you so much for sharing. This has been just, a huge pot of knowledge to dip into here.
Thank you so much. It's been great
Yeah. Your
being here with
experience
you.
and your sharing has just been outstanding. I truly appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. And I appreciate the questions you brought. So thank you too. It goes both ways.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Adam, again, and we'll stay in touch.
Sounds good, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
There you are. Nice to see you.